Hi everybody, this is Dr. Brichter Von Doom. Continuing on my Thor theme of late due to the release of Thor Love and Thunder, I'm going to show you how to make versions of Thor represented in alternate forms of media other than the MCU movies. So this includes comic book versions of the character and video game versions of the character. So let's hop right on in. On the left, we have an improved version of Thor from the Marvel 2020 video game, The Avengers. This Thor is based on the actual official minifigure for that time period with the torso. However, Lego's version had silver arms and dark silver legs, which I've swapped out for the flesh arms and blue legs that better represent how the character appears. I also gave him the updated Thor face from Endgame and Love and Thunder with the Love and Thunder hairpiece. I think the ideal hairpiece would be a recoloring of Rey's hairpiece from the sequel Star Wars trilogy. I think that in yellow or tan would look really good as a Thor hairpiece and more in keeping with that version of Thor, but that doesn't exist officially, unfortunately. He has the standard version of Mjolnir, and then he has the modern spongy cape with no crease in the back, which actually fits very well with that modern hairpiece. On the right, we have the comic book version of Unworthy Thor, also known as the Odinson. I'm not super familiar with the lore for that character, but apparently he becomes unworthy and can no longer wield Mjolnir, so he returns to his pre-Mjolnir weapon, an axe known as Jarnbjorn. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I have built for him. He has the torso from Beach Batman from the collectible minifigure series, a light silver arm, a dark red hood, and then the red half cape from the Thor Ragnarok minifigure, and then routine black legs. And his face is the original version of Thor from the Avengers. Next, we have two comic book versions of the character. On the left, we have Old Thor or King Thor. This version of Thor is missing an eye. He also has an artificial arm, and he wields a sword as well as Mjolnir, and is obviously aged, so he has a long flowing white beard with white hair. To make this minifigure, you use the torso and legs from Thor Ragnarok version of Thor. He has Mjolnir, which is easily collectible, as well as a standard long sword. He has a light silver arm with light gray hand on the left side, and then his right is flesh colored. He has the spongy red cape with a crease in the back, and then the face, which is hidden under this beard, is from the Wilhelm character from Overwatch. Then he has the same hair from that character, and then his beard is from the Morgan Freeman character from the Lego movie, which gives this version of Thor a very weathered and experienced look, and I think draws the character together very well. Next to him, we have the ultimate version of Thor. So not as in the optimum or best version, but from the comic book line The Ultimates, which was a reimagining or retelling of many classic Marvel characters. So he has the Thor Infinity War torso, as well as the standard black legs from that. He actually has a Age of Ultron face, and then the long flowing yellow hair, while similar in mold to the Endgame version of Thor, is actually from Aquaman, and I think this bright yellow hair really contrasts very nicely with the black outfit, which is why I chose that. And then this version of Thor does wield Mjolnir, but in the ultimate version, Mjolnir is actually very similar to the MCU Stormbreaker, which is actually named after Beta Ray Bill's Warhammer from the comics. So if you followed all of that, you are probably a bigger Marvel fan than I am. To make this version of Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, whatever you want to call it, again used the silver axe and hammer pieces from the latest Thor Love and Thunder version of Stormbreaker, but I then did a mock-up myself using one of those sort of stop pieces in gray, a 1x1 stud with hole in the middle, and then a light gray lightsaber handle, and then topped off with a silver cone ornament. And I'm quite happy with it, and it could certainly double as a version of Stormbreaker from the MCU, where the handle was not misplaced by Tyrion, and actually is used instead of having to use Groot's arm. Poor Groot. And I've actually done a video looking entirely at different ways to make Stormbreaker from the MCU, from which I drew inspiration to make this version of Mjolnir. So if you're interested in that, I've linked the video here for you to check out. But finish watching this video first. And then next we have two versions of comic book Thor. We have modern Thor on the left, and then classic Thor on the right. I had to take a few liberties with classic Thor since he's missing that iconic kind of bowl-shaped helmet with the white wings, and that piece simply doesn't exist, so I opted to just give him the flowing yellow locks of hair. His face is one of the Atlantean guards from the DC Aquaman sets, as I feel like that has a good resting face for classic Thor, and the eyebrows add a little bit of contrast. He has the spongy cape with no crease at the back to really accentuate the shoulders, which is a main feature of the early comic book Thor. For his torso, he has that Infinity War version of Thor with the black torso, which is classic to Thor. And then for his legs, he has two of the classic blue legs with a hip piece of black, because that is really how Thor looks. And then he has trusty Mjolnir at his side. For the modern version of Thor, he has the flat light silver helmet from the Avengers video game version of Thor. His face is that of the original Aquaman because of the blonde eyebrows and the good face that provides. Again, he has the Infinity War torso, but with the light silver arms, a creased cape for these dramatic poses, and then his legs are dual molded dark bluish gray and black boots. The ideal would be a flat light silver leg piece with dual molded black boots, but that doesn't exist, and I think this comes as a close second to show that he is armored on his legs with the black boots. So those are two ways to make a fairly faithful iteration of comic book Thor, both original and modern. Well guys, those are my versions of classic, ultimate, and alternate versions of comic book Thor, as well as an improved version of video game Thor. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. If you like content like this, be sure to check out my other videos. Consider leaving a like and a subscription if you don't want to miss out on more content. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Have a good day.